Welcome to Make Pods Great Again. I'm your host, John, back with my girl, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Oh, so good. How are you?
I am excellent. We are about to run the gamut on the Titan Games by having the fourth finalist from the Titan Games, Courtney Roselle. Courtney, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good up in Jersey. Hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah,
Where you
hanging
guys
in
are
there. Hanging in there. I am
hanging in.
so excited to have you on the show because I already said this, but I feel like I already know you. It's our first time meeting you, but just, because you are obviously you've been telling your story on national television and because you're like, you feel so much like one of us. Like I feel like I would have worked out with you in the past and seen you on the competition floor. And so I feel like we're already the third bestie in the
Yay! We're the
show.
three best friends.
So well, we do need to lay down the rules here. So we had Margot on
Oh,
uh,
you're
before
the
like
best.
we
before we really like found out what was going on. And Margot does a very straight laced interview, by the way. Like she's real kind of by the book. She's amazing. I've known Margot forever. She's so sweet. And
Yeah.
then we had Danny on, and we talked about some weird shit with Danny. So I'm
Oh,
real,
I caught that podcast, by the way. What's up, fetishes? I
yeah.
don't
So
think I didn't catch that podcast. I caught that podcast.
all right,
totally.
well, so we're gonna see where you if you fall in the middle of those two, or if it even gets weirder. I don't know. We'll find
Yeah.
out. But
Matt wasn't weird. Matt was normal.
yeah, we had Matt Chan on. We haven't released that
Yeah.
one yet. We have Matt Chan on. He's totally normal. He's just like complete. He's a firefighter. But he's a very, very cool dude. And I was,
Oh,
Nikki was making fun of me that I was fangirling because he's an
He
OG.
fangirled so hard.
Yeah. Hey, look,
um,
he's an OG CrossFitter, and I'm an OG. I've been doing this for a decade. So like he was, one of the big stars of the sport when I started. So in my mind, he's still, the biggest star of the sport.
yeah, I
So
mean, he has barbells named after him. Like, you know what I mean? Like in
right.
the Like, yeah, most gyms have Chan bars, so I get it. Like when he walked in, I was like, wait, Matt Chan's with me? What?
My gym has PVC pipes named after me. It's very exciting.
Yeah, of
Very
course, of
exciting.
course. Yep, my gym has nothing named after me. So maybe,
Yeah, I was like, what? I mean, that's pretty cool. Anything
maybe
I'll take.
if they
That's a
made like a glitter water bottle, maybe it would be named after me.
that's
Like,
a
I don't know.
great merch idea, Nikki. Now that I've said out loud, we'll make what's great again. PVC pipes
PVC
and
pipes
sell.
actually is a
Yeah,
great idea, given how much you endorse scaling. I think
yeah, it'd
that's
be great.
awesome.
Yeah, or
Yeah, I think
brooms.
you could have like a cool quote on it,
Yeah.
something about scaling. Give you like it would be funny. It'd be
Just
good.
broom handles. I'll just sell broom
Just
handles. That'll be great.
Oh my gosh. Well, Courtney, I am like made of questions
Oh,
about
good.
your experience and just what the whole thing was like, but also about you. And I know that most of our listeners have probably heard your story, but I would love if you could tell it again, just how you got into fitness and sort of your motivation going into being a representative of really of women in sport and of being confident in yourself and in every respect. So I'll kind of just give you the floor. Give us a bit about your background and how you got here.
Yeah, feel free to interrupt at any time. So I am the youngest of four brothers and a sister. So I come from like that Jersey, like typical Italian, loud, like the reason I grew up so loud and so confident is because like at the dinner table, if you didn't speak, you weren't heard. It's
Yep.
just one of those. Like
Yep.
they're like, what? What are you saying over there? I'm like, oh my God. Like that's how I grew up. So, and growing up as like four older brothers that were very, very athletic, I actually grew up very tomboyish, like mushroom bowl haircut. That
Mm-hmm.
me to the max. So, I grew up very tomboyish, like, but I'm also super like tall. My legs are like up to like my waist, and I'm 32 inches in my legs and only 22 inches in my torso. So being like that odd like body type, my family was like, maybe you should do modeling. Maybe you should do modeling.
Oh, because you got legs for days.
For days.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For
Yep.
days. That's like one thing about me. If you saw me, you're like, what the hell is that? It's very
What does
interesting
that
finding
do,
pants.
Beth?
Every bridesmaid dress I've been a part of, I have to get extra long material. Like, it's crazy.
I wish you could hear how hard I'm rolling my eyes. I've also had these problems forever where I'm like, do these pants come in extra long crotch? Like can't get the ratios right.
See,
It's all
and,
messed up.
and I'm such a CrossFitter. I'm just sitting here going, man, I bet she's good at rowing.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Exactly. Everybody's like rowing, wall balls, and rope climbs. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
Also, I
Perfect.
don't understand with wall balls either. Like, I have to get low too. It's like the people are like, oh my God, you're so tall at wall balls. I'm like, yeah, but I have to get lower.
You have further to go, but like less effort on the explosive part, right? Because like by the time you get up, you're just like barely release the ball.
Yeah, I have the same problem. I have long legs and a shorter torso. And we did 19-1, which was the 17 minutes of wall balls and
Oh
rowing.
my
Like
God.
I killed
Oh my
that.
God.
Like I was like right in there with the kind of the top athletes in our gym during that WOD because I'm
Oh
5
my
inches
God, one
taller
of my
than all of them,
favorites.
but I have long legs. So yeah, it's like right in the wheelhouse.
Yeah, that was
I
one of
will
my
never
favorites. I
do
was like,
that
I could
workout
do
again.
this. I'll never do that workout again.
I loved it. That was a good one.
But yeah,
Anyway.
so like I grew up just like being a tomboy, and then I tried to go into the modeling industry. And when I went into the modeling industry at like 13, they were like, you're too muscular, you're too big. Like, mind you, I was like 100 pounds soaking wet. I was like a lengthy thing. I couldn't control my body parts. And they're like, you're gonna maybe be like a plus size model. You're just like too athletic. Like,
were you like playing sports and stuff at that point?
all
Yeah.
the time. All the time. Like, that's all I knew how to do.
Yeah.
So like they were like, no, you'll never be a model. You'll never do anything. I was like, whatever. So I continued with sports all my life. I went to college for basketball, played at University of Scranton. And then when I came out of college again, I tried to go into the modeling industry again, just like one more time. And then they told me that no little girl wants to look like me.
Pardon?
Yeah, no little girl wants to look at me because of my
What?
muscular body. Like they were like, nope, not happening. Like I thought I got called in for like an awesome interview and they were gonna take me, and then they were like, nope, that body type, like nobody wants to see that in magazines.
How many years ago was this?
Okay, so I'm 31 now. It happened when I was 26, 25, 26.
Wow.
Damn.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to
I got
believe that
denied
still
like left and right.
I can't believe that still happens.
Still happens.
So,
Yeah.
oh yeah, of course. Oh my God. Yeah. We're like, no, the modeling industry, specifically modeling and fashion, are like nowhere in 2020, because even nowadays when like, a runway will feature like a plus size collection, like it's big news. It's like, oh, so-and-so brand has real women on their runway.
Yeah.
And it's like, everyone's like, oh my God, clap, clap, clap. You're amazing. Like that is what 2020 is. Like,
It's so sad when it's like on billboards and stuff. They're like, "This is real women on board billboards." I'm like, "That's just a woman." Like, I don't know. It's just the real woman. What the fuck does that really mean?
Completely. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Just to sort of like be on the same level, like I had a very similar experience when I was a kid because I grew up in the ballet and I also my whole life. And I just genetically, women sometimes just build muscle differently or hold muscle in different places. I've always had really jacked like traps and arms and biceps. I don't sit around doing curls. It's just genetically where my body builds muscle the easiest. I wish it were my legs. If I could squat with my traps, we wouldn't have a problem in life, but I can't. But I had very similar conversations with the teachers, directors of the dance schools and things like that, where they were just like, you will never have a partner that you can dance with who's taller than you, who can lift you because you're too big. And I was like little, lean, lanky, big jacked arms coming out of my leotard, just, genetically. And it crushed me. As a kid, it crushed me. It really,
When I was like 13 years old, I was like, screw this. Cause then I just threw myself into sports because the only thing I knew in my athletic body and being strong, like you want to be that in sports. So the only time I could be myself and like be comfortable in my own skin was in sports. And then outside of it, it was like, do you want to be a part of the girl crew or do you want to be part of the boy crew? But I was picked first in dodgeball, but like wanted to be friends. It was like a mess.
I know. And that shit never really goes away, because I still feel like that sometimes. We just were talking about this a little bit on our episode with Jessica Fithen, but like I still feel the most myself when I can like lift heavy weights and rock out in a tank top in the gym. And then when I go out at night, I'm kind of like, do I want to wear sleeves? Because I just don't feel like listening to the commentary on like, oh, you look so jacked. You could probably kick my ass. Like, it's still sad. Anyway, keep going with your story.
No, but like that's how I feel. Like when I'm out in like public, like I love getting dressed up as like a girl. I also love being in like, tank tops, shorts, whatever in the gym. I can play all roles. I just don't think there is roles. And when I go out in like heels and shorts and like my leg muscles, someone is bound to come up to me. Yeah. So, like and just be like, hey, like, but some of the comments is just like ridiculous. Some of them is really nice. And like,
sometimes it's like complimentary and whatever, but sometimes it's like, who told you that as a stranger you could just come up here and talk to me about my body? Like, just go away. Just go away.
Exactly. I get the same exact thing, like going out in public. So it's it's weird at first, but then I just like kind of embrace it that,
Yeah.
walking into a room. But yeah, so then like, but after I got denied the last time of my like modeling, and they said no little girl wants to look like me, I walked out and I was like, I'm done. My mom ends up going to the US Open about like 4 or 5 months later, and the Vogue editor was there. See your cat, John.
Bean!
Bean
Has arrived.
Come join us.
Bean joins all the podcasts. He likes to be a part.
He looks particularly pissed at you today.
No, this is his normal piss look.
Okay.
It's just that natural face.
Yeah, it's just his natural annoyance, just how he rolls.
Yeah. But then like 4 or 5 months later, editor of Vogue was there. I'm sitting next to my mom. Thank God my mom had a couple cocktails in her. She ended up getting these like tennis seats because my cousin worked in the city and got these crazy seats for her. And she had been talking to editor of Vogue, showed her my picture and stuff, and she's like, my daughter wanted to be a model and everyone denied her. And she's like, you know what? Bring her in. I want to see her. And I ended up booking Vogue as my first modeling shoot.
Oh my God. First of all, go mom. Like,
yeah, mom with a couple of cocktails.
Yeah, hell yeah. And normally it's like, mom, shut up, like stop, whatever. And your mom was like, no, listen, this is my daughter. And it's amazing.
Yeah, like literally she gave her my card and stuff. And I was like, Mom, you probably embarrassed me. And she's like, nah, this woman's going to call you. I was like, no, she's not. And then a week and a half later, she called me. She's like, I have nobody athletic, like looking enough that's a model that could look like a UFC fighter. Like, you need to come in here. And she was like, you're perfect. And then I ended up booking. And it was like, it's just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I kind of just like went from there. And then like Shape magazine reached out, then Felt magazine reached out. And then everybody, all of a sudden what everybody hated me for, everybody was like, oh, that. And then I went into like motivational speaking to like high school girls. I love talking about body positivity and, just being comfortable in your own skin and walking into a room and knowing it. And then it kind of led into like just starting my own company of clothing line. And my company is called Iron Grace because iron the masculine side and you have to be graceful, but it's like a barbell. Like when you clean or snatch a barbell, you have to be strong, but it's like poetry in motion. Like you have to be graceful. So everybody has to have a feminine and masculine side in the fitness arena. And that's how I came up with like my company name and kind of like went from there. And then WWE called me to come out to be a diva.
Oh my God. Wait, that's like the dream. Do you know how many people are like, sideline reporting is cool, Nikki, but have you ever considered being a diva? I'm like, considered. Like I could just walk in one day and be like, hi, I'm here. Did you know? Like that is like the coveted role. So cool.
But like, then I ended up getting that. And then it didn't work out how I wanted to work out, but 2 girls were there from the Titan Games. And then the 2 girls were like, have you gone out for the Titan Games? I think you would like, they would like love you. And literally that's how it snowballed effect. And then I went through auditions and combat, like, but literally that's how life, it's just, no one always being like just super kind to people, get you somewhere in life, people. You don't have to be ridiculous and be mean. And it's just like meeting the right people in the right time. And I just can't believe it happened from what, again, everybody hated me. They were like, ew, gross.
No.
And then they're like, no.
And throughout this whole process, obviously you have been training, crossfitting, like growing your own athleticism. How did that sort of parallel path with all that other stuff?
Yeah, I mean, like when I was first starting it, it was just like a hobby and a sport. I played college basketball. I was in the corporate world. I was like, I just need some type of competitive fitness. And then I ended up getting like better and better and better at it. I started doing like competitions. And then, I started like, so my clean is like 225. My deadlift's like 405. So I'm like, I'm just a strong barbell athlete. That's like my jam. So I've heard about like,
those are my numbers too. No big deal. Totally.
What'd you say?
Yeah, it's totally my numbers too.
Hey,
no big
don't
deal.
be bitching about it, Nikki. They're higher than mine. So let's
Of course they are. Of course they are. Oh my God, so cool.
And then like on the athletics cert, and then like I went out to Wadapalooza, got denied like the first 3 years of Wadapalooza. I was like, I'm not making this. And then the 4th time, which is like 3 years ago, I finally like made it. And then it just started like snowballing from there. I ended up coaching so much more fitness. Now I had the opportunity to quit my corporate job and do what I love every single day. My mom also grew up being divorced and like a single mom, and she sacrificed everything for me. So if I could take like a little bit of opportunity, just like an inch, to be able to do what I love every single day from everything that she sacrificed, I was like, I'm jumping on board. Like
I feel like we live the same life. I'm like, oh, everything you're saying, I'm like, yeah, me too. Oh my God, yeah, me too. Oh, totally, me too. You know, when people like listen to the podcast, John, and sometimes they're like, we totally feel like we know you guys. I'm doing that right now with Courtney. I'm like,
Yeah.
Courtney, I know, because I'm like the same, and we're like totally.
See, I was doing the same thing until she said she deadlifted 405, and I'm like, yep, that's not me. Nope.
Yeah, you had me until.
You had me until 400.
Talk about the deadlift of 405. I would have never done that without Danny Spiegel, because I did it at the combine when she was with me at the Titan Games, and she was in my group, and we were lifting, and you had 3 tries to do your max deadlift, and before that it was like 375. So like I went and I hit 375 on like my second try or whatever, and she's like, Courtney, put 405 on the bar. I was like, no. She just lifted 405. I was like, stop it. I was like, stop it while you're ahead. Please, Danny. And she was like, no, do it now. And I was like, and then I end up lifting it, and I wish they showed the video on the Titan Games. I end up jumping into Danny's arms.
Oh,
that's
and
awesome.
she just cradled you like a baby.
Yeah. I'm like, she's like, you know, obviously jacked, and I'm just so much taller than her, and it's like hilarious.
Little.
Yeah.
Like,
Danny is just like,
nook, but then I fit in her nook, so it's like,
she's such a fearless athlete when it comes to a barbell. Like I've had this running joke forever that I'd be a strong woman's athlete, and I would, for the record, I'd be a very strong woman's athlete. And I'm not making fun of women, like I'm making fun of myself.
Yeah.
like my weights kind of fall in line with the games athletes that are women. And so when we went to the MAC, Danny competed there, and she was snatching. And if I remember right, she like snatched maybe 195, 205. It was a lot. Yeah. And as soon as I saw her do it, I'm like, yep, I take it back. I'm absolutely not as strong as women's games athletes. She was so strong and just completely fearless when she gets near a barbell. It's amazing.
That's the cool thing about her. Her confidence when she walks up to the bar is like, I'm here to do it. And I'm like, what?
How? Help me.
Help me. Yeah, I wish I got it on film, because I literally would have never done it unless she told me to. She's like, do it now. And I was like, awesome. What?
Okay, whatever you say, Danny Spiegel.
I was like, all right, Danny Spiegel, please. Okay. I'm going to break my back.
What were you thinking when you were like, because you're a competitive athlete and you've been out on the same competition floor as a lot of these athletes, but there's still some like, when you walk in, you're like, oh, there's like games athletes in my group, like people in the sport that I follow that are top notch, that I see on TV, that I idolize, whatever. Like, what were you thinking? Being like, oh yeah, I'm on this level 2, turns out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First, like when me and her got there, I was like, oh shit. I was like, how many people are you taking? Like, are you taking more than like somebody in my group? I was like, Jesus. But yeah, it was like just pretty cool too that she ended up being so cool and pushing me to do my best. Like, you don't know walking to, like, I've been at competitions, I'm not gonna even lie, when girls like don't even speak, and they're just like,
I know. Yeah.
And they just like turn blind eye, and I'm just like, guys, what? Like, you know what I mean? But then I've been at like mostly Wadapalooza, everybody's like so
cool.
So cool. And they're like chilling. We're like, we're in the Miami heat. Let's get a tan.
Yeah. Let's go get a drink.
Let's go get a drink. Let's wear no clothes while we compete. Like, you know what I mean? So it was really cool that she was such a high level game athlete. And she was like, no, put 405 in the bar right now. And then like, she told the producers, she's like, yo, she just PR'd by like 30 pounds. Like, she was telling the producers for me. She was like, she did that. Just want to let you know. So it was really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. And then Margot Alvarez was the first one that came running up to me too. And was like, yo, let's talk about this. Like, Margot sprinted to me. And I was like, hey, Margot Alvarez.
Yeah.
Margot may be the nicest woman on the planet. And now that and once you know her, she never forgets you. Like, I've run into her so many times in different places. And like, we were at Rogue. I think I told her this on our podcast. We're at Rogue, and we're in a crowd. Like, it's packed, right? And I'm walking through, and I see her. She makes eye contact, and she shouts, "John!" And like, everybody turns and looks at me like I'm a rock star.
You're the celeb.
I know, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a big deal. Give me a hug, Margot. She gives me a hug. You know.
You know what I love about her is like she's one of my goals in, like you said, like retention of people and personal connection. Like, she's the person that once a month will just text me and be like, hey, how are you doing? I remember you were doing this.
Thank you. Yes.
And I'm like, wow, I wish, because I do legitimately care about people like that, but I don't enough go out of my way to like make it known, or, you know, because that shit takes effort. It takes effort because you always think in your head like, oh, I'm going to text Courtney and like see how that went. But how many days go by before you do it? I don't know if she has like alerts on her phone that go off or what. like once a month to be like, Bing Monday, text Nikki, Bing Tuesday, text Courtney. Like, how does she do it? I don't understand. I need to get better about that kind of stuff.
No joke. Me and her text a lot. She texted me the other day. She's like, just thinking about you. So happy you came into my life for the Titan games. Like she said, and I'm just like, what? How are you an angel? How?
So awesome, man. Such life goals.
Like, even when I started getting a lot of followers on Instagram. I got over like 11,000 now, like just at once. So now, like, I literally texted her right away. I was like, how do you handle like, just the DMs? I get like just overwhelmed because I'm so thankful for everything that happened. I want to make sure I get back to everybody, every email. I'm just like that. And she was like, Court, you just need like 1 hour where you focus on getting back on DMs and then step away from the phone because you won't be able to handle. I was like, is that what you do? Because I swear you hit up everybody.
Yeah, well, freaking ask John, because John's exactly the same. John has like 280,000 followers?
287.
287, but who's counting?
Who's counting?
Answer
every single one.
Everyone.
Everyone.
He does.
I can't not. It's like, and Nikki and I talk about this a lot. She's like, can't you just delete them and not answer? I'm like, no, I just can't. Like, I'm not wired that way.
Sometimes people are dicks. Like really bad out of nowhere. And like for John, I get it because it's like controversial content sometimes that people like feel some kind of way about, but like to the point where I'm like, you don't need to like insult me and my ancestors from like 4 generations back. Like you might not agree with what I'm saying and you can tell me, that's fine, but don't like just come out of nowhere with like, and your dog sucks too. Like F off. I don't understand. And that's the kind of stuff that he deals with. So I'm like, can you just delete this?
The only advice I would give you on it is I came to the realization a couple of years ago at this point that about 10% of your audience is just batshit crazy. Totally batshit crazy. Like, I mean, that's just the planet. 10% is
actually very low, John. Is that
well, I'm trying to be kind. It could be higher, but so like I figure for every, I probably get 100 DMs a day probably. And out of those 100, 10 are going to be complete and utter jerks or weirdos or whatever. And to be honest, like I'm a dude, so I don't get the DMs you get. I don't get the DMs. Like Danny and I speak weekly about the DMs she gets, and we make a lot of jokes about it. Like I don't get the ones that say, "Hey, can I be your sugar daddy? Can I have a foot photo? Can I see your thighs? Like, can you crush me with those?" Like I don't get any of that weird shit.
Yeah, like the most weird shit I get, they ask me, do you guys ever heard of like muscle worshiping when you just like spot men and like arm wrestle them and they pay you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I 100% have. Are you getting those now?
So Courtney,
muscle worshiping, I'll pay you $500.
Yeah.
You have to arm wrestle me, you have to squat me, and I'm allowed to like touch your biceps for $500.
All right, so here's the deal, Courtney. I'm actually Danny's perv manager.
Yep.
I only take 10%. I'll book everything. I'll book it all. It'll be really easy for you. There won't be much for you to do. Just send me the DMs. I'll handle it. It'll be great.
I love it.
It's a nice little side business.
No one asks to muscle worship me ever. And I wish that they would. And because I would 100% send like a bicep photo if you Venmo me $200.
Yeah.
What do you want? My husband's like, hustle for that money.
Oh my God.
Come on, Nikki, make us money.
Danny had in her story the other day, she had in her close friend story, she had this DM she got from a dude that said, "Hey, can I get a photo of your thighs? I'll pay you $1,000." And she left his phone number in it. She didn't, because it's her close friend, so she just left it in. So I messaged her. I'm like, "Can I please send him a photo of my big hairy thigh and say it's you and charge him $1,000?" She's like, "Please do, please charge him $1,000."
I mean, like, are they really just Venmoing? I mean, like,
yes.
Wait, can I just tell you that one time John made a joke that if every one of his followers Venmoed him like $1 that he could like, actually like not have to work for a minute or whatever. Whatever the joke was, it was like whatever. And I was like, yeah, I mean, but I don't know why it has to be just you. Shit you not. I got 2 different people. One Venmoed me $1 that night and one Venmoed me $2 because women's rights and to tell John to suck it because now I make more money than he does.
Exactly.
That actually happened. So I swear these guys are actually motivated. They 100% would Venmo you for real.
Like they don't, but like it's not photos. Like they want to see me in person, like arm wrestle them.
That's different.
Am I allowed to like bring a dude with me? I would totally bring one of my guy friends, and like maybe you're my bodyguard, and then I'll arm wrestle you. But I'm not allowed to come with anybody. Like
no,
it's different.
Yeah.
But
It's
I
a
said
recipe
also
for
too, if the
disaster.
gym's like never open in Jersey for the rest of 2020, I'm gonna get super ripped and just go into muscle worshipping. And
You would make so much money. You could make an OnlyFans account and just post close-ups of your biceps. It makes so
like
much money. That's what's so crazy about the world right now is like that would work. But like starting your own clothing company and your own business and personal training and doing what you love to like the benefit of others, that's a grind.
So
I know it.
So I don't think dudes understand this, Courtney. So if you got 100 DMs by percentage, how many of them are people messaging you with creepy stuff?
Oh man, it's a good. Now, what do you mean creepy stuff? Is it just like
Muscle worship,
like
want to
I
see
feel
your
like creepy
feet.
can go in
Like,
all different directions. You know what I mean? Like
It's the ones that are just like it's
they're
one
not
thing
normal.
if you message and you're like you're beautiful and that inspires me, but it's another thing if people are like you're beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a difference.
Yeah, like the ones Nikki sent me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
Like when I'm like, John, you're so pretty.
That's so pretty, John.
if it's out of 100, I would say at least a quarter of them are a little bit.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
At least a quarter. So I would say 25% is a little bit like some of them are on. I can't tell through text sometimes what your emotion is behind
Oh
it.
yeah.
And I'm like, but then sometimes they're not as bad. I'm like, oh, I just took that the wrong way.
I'm gonna throw out there probably not. Your instincts are right where they should.
Yeah, because like I always get nervous when they come in the request box. Like that, and I'm like, ooh, what's this gonna be like in the request box? So those are the ones I always get a little bit nervous. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna press it. I'm gonna press it now. I'm gonna press it now. And I'm
Yeah. No, I totally know where you're coming from. So when it comes to going back to just like Titan Games and being in that environment and getting like that kind of attention for the first time on national television, a lot of what we were talking to folks like Danny about was how you train in CrossFit for kind of like the epitome of the test of fitness, the unknown, unknowable, whatever. And for her, at least, it wasn't necessarily like, I don't want to say it wasn't that hard, but like it wasn't, I mean, we're sometimes used to training 3-4 times a day, competing, at 4 events at a time and whatever. So when you're filming like one event a day and then like Mount Olympus takes 3 minutes and you're used to doing a shitty AMRAP for 12 minutes, it's like, how was it in comparison to the type of, working out or fitness that you're used to?
So yeah, that's like such a good question. So the one thing I would say, so when you went the CrossFitters, I mean, we got like some hate back because they're like, of course 4 CrossFitters made it. And I was like, yo, just to let you know, I picked my type of fitness. Like, stop judging me on the type of fitness I picked.
Yeah.
So we got some hate back being like, oh, of course it's CrossFit athletes, like I'm like, yo, it wasn't sponsored by CrossFit.
No, couldn't even say the word CrossFit.
Right.
Just because we picked that out of the sport, I also just think like we are meant to go into the unknown, right? Like you've been to competitions, people have been to competitions, and you don't know the last 2 to 3 events. So I train for the unknown. So like we would go to the obstacles, and Danny could contest this too, and Margot, and they would be like, all right, this is how you do the obstacle. And I'd be like, how much does that weigh? And they're like, we're not telling you. And I was like, well, you just got to go into it. But I'm so used to it that other people that came from different realms of like background of fitness, they were like a little bit pissed. Like, how did they not tell us more in advance? But like the CrossFitters were like, like, we're just going to go into this. The only thing that like was different about a competition day. So I filmed nuts and bolts, my first comp at like 11. And then I didn't film my other one till 9 at night. And the break between, you are interviewing, you are only sitting, you are interviewing some more, you're sitting in the makeup chair and you're sitting in the hair chair. So like, it's not like you're warming up for the next one. I like going back to back, like 2-hour break, go to another one, 2-hour break. Because when you're going in cold and they're like, and not like they don't know in TV, but they have no idea in TV. Like, you need to warm up.
Yeah.
They would like walk out and be like, you guys ready? We're like, wait, like we're still doing something physical. They only think about the TV aspect.
Yes.
Like
correct.
How good you look, how you're going to portray yourself. But like at first they didn't even have like a medical staff at first. And I was like, no, like people are going to get hurt.
Yeah. I will say, just super side note story, like a true testament to the broadcast crew that we put together for games and for regionals, and a lot of the same people are working sanctional stuff. Like the reason why we were able to pull things off the way we did is because our whole crew, including the people in the trucks, including the people who ran the cameras, including the floor operators, big shout out to Ling Lu, who is our red hat and floor operator forever. Like everyone was a CrossFitter, or at least had been indoctrinated into the sport to the point where they understood what the hell was going on. So like a camera guy knows what a thruster is and what a rope climb is and where to stand and where you're going to run. And the truck knows and understands that I'm not going to be able to do an interview beforehand because you're going to be focused, because you're going to be warming up and you don't want me to bug you. Like all of that worked in such synergy, which is why we were able to pull off incredible feats of broadcast that we did. And the regular world, like they just don't know unless they have those trained ambassadors or unless they put time into hiring someone for those positions. So side note, and shameless plug.
No, but that's so true, because like they're like, you're gonna run the obstacle in 10 minutes, and they're like, but press is outside for the next 5 minutes. I'm like, so I'm gonna go to press right now, talk to them, which was great because like they really this season tried to expand on all the stories of people and like the human instinct behind the athlete, which I loved about them. It's just sometimes the timing of what they think about in TV, like they're trying to get the story, and they're like, okay, and now you're gonna go run Mount Olympus right now. And I'm like, what? So that was like the only thing coming off like cold. And then towards the end, like they started getting us like more warm-up equipment and bands and like, you know, but at first, like they were just like, why can't you come off an interview? You just got your makeup done and go run the event. I'm like, just because it's only like 5 minutes, it depends on how long the event goes, because sometimes TV has to cut it. Like Matt Chan was on that Lunar Impact wall for 15 minutes.
Oh my God. Lunar Impact was my favorite event. It was my favorite. Lunar Impact was my favorite. Every time it came up, I was like, all right, Matt, here we go. Like I was stoked. It was some of them I was just kind of like, meh, okay. Like I'm used to watching very exciting CrossFit fitness events. So some of them I was like, all right, like we're doing the thing where we take the weights off the wall. Like, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Lunar Impact was like, it got me fired up every time. It was so cool.
No, it is. And like Matt Chan was up there for 15 minutes. He's like, and he went against a guy who was 280 pounds.
That dude was a beast.
And Matt Chan still held it down for 15 minutes up there. Like, think how long 15-minute AMRAP is. Like, I'm just like, no, I hate it. I hate anything over 8 minutes for an AMRAP. So I'm like,
15-minute quad burn with nothing but a friggin' quad. Like, I can't imagine.
Matt was sore, he said, for 3 days after.
Oh,
like,
I bet.
You know what I mean? So I was like, he had stem like all over his body. It was awesome. Loved it for it. And also he's tattooed from like head to toe. So at one point, like his wife was there back with him, who's like, oh,
Cherie's the best.
Like, she's amazing. When they aired the last episode, I texted both of them saying, can you please adopt me? So
They would consider it. They'd be like, yeah, move out to Boulder. We got a room.
Yeah, I'm like, just adopt me already. God. But he pulled his pants down, and he even has like, and they have no problem because he has rose petals down his ass. Like, he was just like bare butt. He's tattooed head to toe.
Covered in.
Like, yeah, he has roses. He said it was actually super painful to get those tattoos on his butt. Which I was interested. Like, it was funny, but I was like, he's bare ass, stem, rose petals. I was like, this is a great sight to see.
When else in my world, in my entire life, will I be able to say that
I was like, people would pay me so much money to sit where I am right now, Matt. Okay?
Facts. That's what we should be. John should definitely be, because I bet he's got all sorts of tattoo worship folks.
Tattoo.
We didn't even ask him about that.
I know. I'm disappointed we didn't ask him about his ass tattoos. What
Damn it!
the
hell?
Gotta
have him back.
We'll do
I got to see them in person, real close.
We'll do an entire episode on ass tats. What do you think?
I will get one just so I can participate in that show.
Yeah, I bet you so many people have them. Like, a lot of girls actually at the Titan Games had their inner lip tattooed.
No.
A lot.
Yeah, that's weird. Why?
Inner lip tattoo. Mm-hmm.
Like what's in there? What does it say? Like I think of Black Panther. You know, Wakanda. They flip their lip over and they've got like the. You guys seen that movie? So what would it say? Yeah. Like what would be in there?
Like, well, there's an Olympian there. So like she's badass, Shantae.
She's awesome.
She number one. So she was like, I was like, what kind of background? She's like, I do like track and field here and there. And then when we went to the combine, we had to do a 3-minute dead hang. And she heads from the dead hang, and all of a sudden you see the Olympian rings. And I was like, oh, just track and field.
just once in a while when I feel like
occasionally, every once in a while.
I was like, no one gets the Olympian rings for fun as a tattoo, okay? So she was like, I know, like everybody was just so humble on the show. So she's like, track and field here and there.
Girl.
I forget. It was Kelly, Shantae, and Lindsay, and I forget what they had. They all had like, some of them had like bee sting it, like in her tattoo. Someone had, I think Kelly had like love yourself. But yeah, all of them had inner tattoos on their lips. Some of them had to get them done a couple times because it wears.
I don't.
God, that would be so painful. No, thank you.
So imagine just like sitting like this for like over an hour.
No, because tattoos really hurt. And
Yeah.
anyone who says they don't is BS. I'm sorry. And I'm not great with pain, but like that shit hurts. I'll do it. I've done it. I've sat through 4 tattoos in my life. But like anyone who says that they don't hurt is crazy. And I just can't imagine how sensitive.
Yeah, and just sitting there for a long time, it gets like super dry. I hate even going to the dentist and my mouth gets dry. Like I can't imagine being like.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing it. I might still get that little butterfly on my lower back, but I'm not doing the lip thing.
Tramp stamps for life, dude.
Yes.
It's a hallmark. If you're a late 80s kid, you have to. Late 80s, early chick. It's like a rite of passage. You get to drive a Jetta when you're in college and you get a tramp stamp.
Yeah.
I feel like in Jersey, like some of the there's just like, it's like a cross. And I'm like, that's just such an odd place.
I know.
You can always tell how old somebody is by their tattoo, though. If they have like the tribal was a thing for a while.
Barbed wire.
The barbed wire. Oh, you took it out of my mouth.
Yes.
I love it.
Barbed wire around the bicep.
But this is a thing, and this was my argument always, because when I first started getting tattoos when I was like 18, everyone was like, oh, you're gonna be an old lady and you're gonna have whatever, and how are you gonna feel then? And I'm like, I'm gonna feel like I remember the joy and the moment in my life when I got that and when I loved it and when it was important to me. So if I'm old and saggy and it looks like shit, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but man, when I was 18 and I got it, it meant this, and I was doing that, and I loved it, and it meant something to me. And so even if it looks like shit, it was, that's how I feel about it anyway. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I was thinking about getting a tattoo of abs, like, just like a slightly darker tan, like right across my core. But then I could just quit doing GHDs and sit-ups.
I also found out today, it's so funny. I was hired to do a birthday party. So it's like, I feel like I was hired like a clown,
Like what? How? To do what at a birthday party?
It's like to do fitness, like a fitness class, but I got hired to go to their rooftop and do a birthday party. So cool. I love it so much. Like I gave them a 30-minute workout and I start their birthday party. I've done like bachelorettes to do fitness.
Okay.
I just always say if it's a bachelorette though, like if it's a 3-day bachelorette, like book me the first day because don't book me on day 2. No one wants to see my face. Like no one.
After night 1, everyone's like, all I want to see is a greasy ham, egg, and cheese on a croissant. Please.
Yeah. No one wants to see my face on day 2, especially not day 3. Don't you dare see my face on day 3. So, but I've done like bachelorettes and birthday parties, but the woman at the birthday party, the host, she was saying that ab contouring is a thing.
Yeah, it totally is. Wait, do you know how I know that? Because before I go to do silent at events, sometimes in the winter, I'll spray tan because like just being under like studio lights or camera lights, like it looks really, you'd be like, oh my God, are you sick? It just washes you out like crazy. And when I go, sometimes my lady's like giving me extra little like lines and stuff on my belly. I was like, what are you doing? Like, usually it's like one coat, I'm good, turn around, bend over, whatever. And she's like, oh, I'm giving you some ab lines. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Can you give me more?
Give me all the ab lines, make my quads huge as well. And then
they kind of do. And when I got back, my husband was like, Kit, should I do that? Oh. I'm like, yeah.
There are so many applications here that we're not going to go into, but let's just say it sounds like it's a big business. Wow.
Yeah. So John, it's a real thing is what we're trying to say.
Apparently.
Ab contouring.
So, you can do it with makeup too.
Yeah. They just like makeup for your face. And then she's like, yeah, the ab contour. I was like, what? The ab contour? She's like, yeah, like girls hire it to like go out, or even like, I don't understand sitting on a beach because I feel like it would melt. Like, you know, but like some girls hire it to like when they go on a beach in a big like pool party and they get contoured.
Mm-hmm. You can also do like boob contouring. No, I'm serious. Like if you like people who do like.
John's dying, so now I'm
Hear me out. Hear me out. like you know how like YouTube stars are like a thing. So people like are seen from their like bust up constantly on video. So like if you're doing makeup tutorials or if you're doing whatever on video constantly, you can like contour your chin and your neck so that you look leaner. You can like contour right here with makeup so that like your boobs look nice. I'm not making it up. I've never done it. I probably, if I tried, oh my God, if I tried, you'd probably be like,
I feel like I'm not working hard enough.
Are you covered in tar? Like, what's wrong with you?
I feel like I'm not working hard enough preparing for the video portion of these podcasts. Like I need to be doing some makeup or something. I don't know. Like
you're gonna be doing some boob contouring.
I know. I don't have good pecs. Speaking of pecs, did you get to rub the rocks? Because Danny did. Danny mentioned she got a hug by the rock, and next thing you know, her hand's on his nipple, and she's like touching it, and she couldn't quit touching it. It was like really weird.
I mean, hugging him is like rainbows and butterflies. Like it's like wild. Like number one, he's 6'5", and again, I'm 5'9", 5'10". I'm like taller for a girl, but he makes me feel like very little. Like when he hugs me, I'm like, oh God, I'm so little.
Bring me into your arm folds.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I fit in your nook. Like I don't know, like hug me some more. And when he was hugging me and interviewing me, like they didn't get it on camera, which thankfully I didn't. But like he tried to like let go at one point, and then I was hugging him on his hip. So he tried to let go, and I was like, what? We're not done.
Yeah, we're not done.
Sir, this is not over.
I was like, this hug is not over. So, and like one of the great things is he just smells so good too. Like he's always fresh.
I have so many more questions. We'll take this offline afterwards.
No. I want to know what he smells like now. Now I want to know. What's he smell like?
He's just always so fresh. And like, I understand you were just in front of the camera for like 22 hours. I'm sweating being in front of like an interview camera for like that long. Like, cause all the lights, like in the interview, like, and my hair is down, like makeup had to come in like every 20 seconds. I'm like, come on, stop sweating, man. I'm like, oh my God. Like, how are you doing it? And you just smell so good. Like,
oh my God. I'm
smells so good.
Obsessed with him. He's
epic. And like, and it's so true. Like you just hear like, oh my God, The Rock is such a nice guy. Like, no, he is the nicest guy. And it's crazy because he handpicked, I didn't know like every contestant that was on the show. Like when it comes down to a certain amount, there's 10,000 applicants. Then they wired it down. I think they invited 84 to the combine. And then they narrowed it down to like 36 with the alternates. And he handpicked them. So he knows you by name. He's like, Courtney, what's up? And I'm like, what? What? You know my first name? What?
Were you like, hey, Dwayne?
Yeah, and like you don't know what to call him. You're just like, sir. And he's like, you can call me Dwayne or like DJ, you call him. And I was like, by your first name? Like
Mr. The Rock?
Mr. The Rock. Mr. The. It's just Mr. The.
Yeah, you know, like I'm like, and then he's like, it's Dwayne. I'm like, yeah, I know it's Dwayne. I know it's you.
Yeah, I know your name. I know.
Yeah, and then he's like talking to me about New Jersey. Like he really like invests in the show. Like he really like throws himself in there, and he works like an animal too. So usually they film in LA, but the reason we were down in Atlanta is because he was filming another movie at the same time. So during like certain hours, he would go film the movie and then come back for the Titan Games, and then go film the movie and come back for the Titan Games. Like he's a really, really, really hard worker.
Totally, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I asked the producers, I was like, you know, why are we not in LA this year? And he was like, you go to The Rock. The Rock doesn't come to you. And I was like, good point.
Good call. Yeah. Not everyone, even big stars, like not everyone has played that. And it's probably because he's willing to put in the work. If you come to me, I'll put in the work.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I'm saying. He's like so humble. He's so genuine and so nice. And like, and I think that's why, because he's just really good to work with. So they're like, you know what, we'll just come to you because like whatever. And they set up a whole production around him, and like that was it. So
do you think we can get The Rock on this podcast?
Oh, that's my dream interview, man. No offense, Courtney. No offense. No offense.
No offense to me either. I do this with him every week.
I would love to know. I mean, like, would you guys be speechless, or would you be like, what?
Oh,
like,
I don't know. I'd like to think I'd be like calm, cool, and collected, but I probably would just be like, I heard you smell good.
I'd just be like, you're awesome. You're so awesome.
40 minutes of us being
Yeah.
like, so we love you so much.
So what was it like to have Danny Spiegel rub your nipple? That's all it
Yeah.
would be. Just weird shit like that. It wouldn't even be normal.
We're
Yeah,
like,
it'd be the
we're
most
the creepy
awkward.
pervs. We're
Yeah.
like, how many inches around are your biceps? I have so many questions.
Oh, I actually could ask the guy 1,000 questions. Like I've seen most of his movies. I've watched his entire show Ballers on HBO like a
So
couple
good.
of times. Oh,
Love
it's
the
so
Ballers.
good. And he's so good in it. Like it's like the
Mhm.
perfect role for him. You know, it's
Yeah.
like
I think like the most amazing thing about him, and I said this to the TV crew, was that he came from WWE, but he didn't let it define him.
Yeah.
Like, you know, some WWE characters, they like bring it out with him that they're known as Rock. Like, he's really, I mean, he's known as The Rock, right? But like, he's not known as a WWE character anymore. So
No.
I think that's so cool of him. And like, he just was like, no, I'm going to be an actor in movies. Oh, no, I'm going to be in children's movies. I'm going to be
Yes.
serious. I'm going to be funny. I'm going to be like, the way he made movies like and stuff come to him, and
Yeah.
he molded around it instead of like molding to what the movies wanted him to be, if that makes sense.
Totally. Like I think of an actor like Vin Diesel is a good example, I think, where he's like, he's not typecast necessarily, but he's like, he's always played that action role and he's that guy. And I don't
Right.
really think about him in any other way. Whereas like The Rock is like, played the Tooth Fairy in a
Right.
movie one time. Do you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
and I didn't bat an eye. I was like, oh yeah, of course he's perfect for this role. Oh yeah, of course he's perfect for that role. Like, oh yeah, he's funny as hell. You guys seen the new Jumanji movies? They're so
Yeah.
good.
they're good.
Yeah, they're good. They're good. And then like in Ballers, he was like a badass and like,
Right.
you know what I mean? But like, who else would play that role besides him? Like,
I became a huge fan of his when I realized like he was completely grateful for his fame. Like I saw this video of these two little girls and like he was driving, like they were doing the video and not him. And like he was going past them in a car or something and they yelled at him. They're like, oh my God, The Rock. And he stopped and came back. Like he had no need to stop and come back. And he stopped and came back and took a photo with them and got in their video. And you could tell he was just like genuinely grateful that someone recognized him and liked him for who he was, you know. It's like just really different than you see from most people at that level, you know.
The Rock and kids, like I'm sorry, my ovaries just exploded. Like, right? Because you see him with his own kids, but then you see him with like all the other contestants' kids and stuff, and he loved the dog too. I was just like, oh my God, my heart just
I
burst
like
into
when I
confetti.
had like personal conversations with him, I told him like I admire, like he never forgets where he came from. He was like, because like that's what I try to portray. Like I always want to portray like I'm from Jersey and like my family. Like you never get. I wish people would understand you didn't get by yourself where you are today. Like someone gave you a shot, someone listened to you, someone
supported you,
supported you, or even like to the point of like when I was crying over something, my friend was there for me to make me feel better. Like, but like without that interaction, I would have never been where I am today. Like I always just try to remember that, and he's so good at that. Like
so cool,
so good at that. I mean, one of the famous stories about him before the Titan Games, People magazine produced it, that during the pandemic, he called one of his friends that he lived in like a trailer during WWE in the beginning times. Like he didn't have any money. His friend put him up in a trailer with him. He obviously called him during the pandemic and was like, dude, what are you up to? I haven't talked to you in so long. The guy was like, I'm cutting like lawns for like $12 an hour. And The Rock was like, you know what? Like, tell me like your bank account number. I want to treat you to dinner tonight. Well, they won't release how much money he like transaction the guy, but it's enough to never work a day in his life ever again. They won't say what it is. They won't release how much he routed. The guy will never work a day in his life.
I will call out my account number on this podcast right now.
Same.
Routing number.
Yeah.
Yes.
I risk all the fraud. I don't care.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. But like he's like, they say they won't disclose what he did, but that guy will never work a day in his life ever.
That's crazy to me. And
he
like
never forgets where he came from.
We like need more people like him. Like I have no problem with like successful people like him, and you know, people who are willing to give back or whatever, who are big Hollywood actors or big sports stars or whatever, like people who make all that money who give it back. Like that is, we need more people like that in the world.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like
Rock
they were
for
saying,
president.
Rock for president. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
He wants to
That'd be
run.
cool.
He wants to run.
He
Does he?
friggin' should.
Yes. I've heard that many times that he wants to run for president.
yeah, like they asked me on the show that like if you won the 100,000, like what would you do? I was like, I'd be broke. They're like, what do you mean? I was like, I know me because I'll just give my money away. Like, I would like be like, because my mom gave me everything. I'd be like, I want her to have this. And, like, it's only like not $100,000 is a lot to me, but like to pay off people's like mortgages and stuff is not.
No,
like,
it goes real quick. Real
like
quick.
that, I'd be like, I'd be broke. So
Yep.
that's what I would do. I'd be broke.
People be like, well, they asked me that. I'd be like, student loans.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh.
Like, oh, what else? Nothing else actually.
Oh my God.
First of all, after taxes, it's only like 55 grand.
That's
so
what I'm
it's-
saying. That's what I'm
it
saying.
crushes
I was
you.
like, I would do this, and they're like, it's 100. I was like, I know exactly why I would be broke, guys. Like, I would try to pay off my brother's debts and like my mom's debts. Like, you don't have enough, and I'm like, exactly.
Yep, you called it. Oh man.
Yeah, but
Wow.
it was like one of the best experiences of my life because it's like something I didn't train for, and I ended up winning the East, and I was the East champion, which is like so awesome. And for the first time, I actually didn't train for it, quote unquote. Like in CrossFit, you train for the competition. In basketball, I did about 9 million practices my whole life, so I hope I'm somewhat good at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily train for this, so like to come out as like the East champion for it, and then have like the amount of DMs I got of like from moms saying that their 10-year-old girl was watching and like just staring at the screen like this, being like, you like are my daughter's like inspiring idol. I was like, 100,000, like it's worth every penny to me. I was like,
awesome.
So
girl
cool.
DM me, she's like, do you think they're gonna make a Barbie of you? I was like,
Oh my God. Well, I really sincerely hope that that our listeners got sort of the same vibe from you, because I'm really thankful that you came on this show to be able to tell that story and to be able to just continue doing your thing, like continue inspiring more people, continue telling your story, continue being like, yeah, those a-holes in the modeling industry didn't want me, so
yeah.
Like I think that is the best, and that's I'm really grateful to you for coming on the show and continuing your message.
Thank you. Both you too. Like, I mean, both you express like very authentic people. I think that's why you attract so many people. And I just always want to say that to people, like, always be your authentic self, because that's what people want. Like, you attract it, and like, you're going to attract your tribe and your people, like always. And they're going to love you for it. All your flaws and everything in between, but like be yourself, because you're going to inspire someone you didn't even think you could inspire.
Right.
I tell it to people all the time. I get so many messages like, oh, I want to start this online. Like, how do I attract followers? I'm like, you can only be yourself. Like the second, like people can sniff a phony a mile away.
Oh,
like,
totally.
Yeah. Like I have to tell my modeling story how many times I've been rejected. Like they thought it was going to be like an all Cinderella. And I was like, nah, no one wanted to be me.
Little girls don't want this, remember?
Yeah,
they told
nobody
me.
wants any of this. Like, but you have to like talk about your downfalls. And like, I tell people all the time, like, they're like, how are you such a strong athlete? I was like, because I know what weak feels like. Like I know what rock bottom feels like to the core. So like, and I know what people making fun of me feels like. And like, I know. So like, that's the only reason I have such like a confident personality now. But you only, in time and age and experiences only gets you that. So, but yeah.
Well, I have the time and the age, and I don't have your 405 deadlift. So
goals, John.
That's what I'm walking away from on this podcast, is I can't deadlift 405. Well, Courtney, thank you for coming on. This has been so much fun.
No, I had so much fun. Thank you guys for having me and taking your time out of your day. So thank you.
We're gonna have Courtney on with Danny at some point, and Nikki, you and I won't have to talk. I'm convinced if we had the two of you guys on, we could just sit back and let you guys just go off
screw that. I'm coming on. You stay off. The three of us girls will do a show one night.
Well, I'm gonna observe. It'll be fun to watch. I just sit on and watch. It'd be great.
Yeah, I would say at the Titan Games, all the athletes there, like there was never a dull silence in the room. The cameras were always filming us because like they were like, you guys just don't stop talking to each other. I'm doing like the most ridiculous shit. And I was like,
accurate.
I believe that. I believe that. Well, thank you, Courtney. It's been great. Nikki, as always, been great. We got for everyone listening, we got a lot of stuff coming up on top of this one. We've got oh my god, so many. I can't even list them all. Lots of OGs.
I would have to pull them up.
I don't even know what order they're coming out at this point, but obviously you guys have listened to Courtney. We've got Rich Froning, Matt Chan. Oh, who am I missing?
I don't know. I can't find the document fast enough, but
Neil Maddox.
Yep. Take a selfie with us. Hi guys.
leave that selfie silence in the show. Don't cut it.
I'm totally leaving it in. Totally didn't
Who
insult.
else? Jessica Fithen. I don't know the timing of when we're releasing this, but she runs the You Look Like a Man Facebook page and Instagram page, and totally pertinent to part of our conversation today. So listen to that episode. Yeah. And then
so many good ones.
Someday we'll get back to just you and me, John. Someday.
Yeah, never.
Never.
This is fun. All right. Well,
Okay,
thanks,
yeah,
guys.
that's so much
Great
fun.
talking to you. And for everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll chat with you all soon.